The morning was pale and windless, the kind of uneasy calm that made men talk more than usual. Private Thomas Holy stood on the fire step, packing fresh earth into the parapet with a shovel. Corporal Finch directed the repairs with quiet efficiency while Miller and Davies passed sandbags along the line. The trench still bore the scars of last week's shelling, and rebuilding it felt like trying to patch a cracked dam with bare hands. Miller was in the middle of a story about a dance hall back home, something about a stubborn fiddler and a spilled pint when Thomas leaned back, laughing. "You're telling me you tripped over your own boots?" Thomas grinned. "Wasn't the boots," Miller protested. "It was the floor's fault." Davies snorted. Even Finch allowed himself the faintest twitch at the corner of his mouth. Thomas took one careless step backward, still chuckling. He stood near a narrow gap where the trench angled and opened slightly toward the next section, just enough exposure to be dangerous. The crack of a rifle split the air. Thomas felt something slam into him like a hammer. His shoulder exploded in pain, and he stumbled, eyes wide with shock. His shovel fell from his hands as he collapsed onto the duct boards for a heartbeat. No one moved. Then Finch shouted, "Sniper, get him down!" Miller and Davies lunged forward, grabbing Thomas under the arms and dragging him hard against the trench wall, out of the line of sight. Another bullet snapped overhead and buried itself in the sandbags. Thomas gasped, staring at his tunic as red bloomed across the khaki fabric. "Hold still," Finch ordered, already tearing open Thomas's jacket. The wound was ugly but clean through the shoulder. Blood seeped steadily. "Through and through you'll live," Finch muttered. Davies pressed a bandage hard against the wound while Miller wrapped it tight, his hand shaking despite himself. Tomo looked down at the dark stain spreading across his sleeve. His face was pale, but a crooked grin tugged at his mouth. "Wow," he breathed. "Thought it would be different than this." Miller let out a strained laugh. "You're daft, Holly. Stretcher bearer." Miller bellowed down the trench. Man hit. Within moments, two medics arrived at a run, ducking low. They eased Thomas onto a canvas stretcher. He winced, but didn't cry out. Finch walked alongside as they hurried toward the rear, boots splashing through shallow mud. "You'll be right as rain," Finch said firmly, keeping pace. "I'll look after Mill and Davies. Make sure they don't knock the whole parapet down without you." Thomas tried to smile. "Good. Someone's got to." The trench twisted and dipped. The sounds of distant artillery thudded like a far-off storm. At a junction near the support line, Finch slowed. Regulations would not allow him farther forward. He stopped and watched. The stretcher bearers carried Thomas away, their figures growing smaller down the long brown corridor of earth and sandbags until they turned a corner and vanished from sight. On the stretcher, Thomas stared upward. A thin strip of sky showed between the trench wall, soft blue streaked with drifting smoke. The boom of artillery rolled somewhere beyond the horizon. His eyelids felt heavy. The sky blurred. The sounds of war faded into a dull echo as darkness gently closed in, and the trench carried on without him. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content like this.